All right, guys. This is John Salkowitz. I'm here, Strictly MMA. Today we got Tom DeBlass. Tom, what's going on, man?
How are you, man?
Good. Let's start off. Tom's a Bellator middleweight, currently fighting. Just came back out of retirement. Tom, how about you tell these guys a little bit about yourself?
Tom DeBlass, as you just said, I've been fighting professionally. It'll be 3 years this June. Former Ring of Combat 2-time champion, UFC veteran, Bellator fighter. Have a jiu-jitsu background, a jiu-jitsu world champion, Pan American national, and Abu Dhabi trial champ, and have my own academy in Forked River, Ocean County Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm a first-degree black belt under Ricardo Almeida.
All right, so I pretty much want to start from. Let's go back to 2010. So, you're pretty impressive background right off the bat. You relatively only a couple years in MMA. With the Ring of Combat, you're the champion for the light heavyweight and the heavyweight divisions, and like you said, you were in the UFC shortly after. How did it start with MMA? From jiu-jitsu, like what drove you into MMA?
I was lucky enough to be successful in jiu-jitsu competitions, and I made a really strong run at brown belt. I won the Pan Ams, the Nationals, and the Worlds at the brown belt level. And then at black belt, I won the Abu Dhabi trials, and I went to Abu Dhabi, and I had a very controversial match where I lost, but many people thought I should have went the other way. And I competed one more time at black belt. I took third in the world without the gi at black belt. And then after that, I heard an interview with Master Renzo Gracie just saying it's important that, we show who we are, and we put it on the line, and really, if we're able to do it, and fighting's about more than just ourselves. It's about our team and our legacy, and I felt obligated to do it, actually. I never really, 3 years ago, probably 4 years ago, I didn't want to fight, and now here we are. Look at me fighting now. I can't get away from it right now, it seems.
It's pretty much the next step. I mean, after all you've done in competition, jiu-jitsu wise, if you want to keep, if you want to keep challenging yourself, I mean, you could compete so much in jiu-jitsu, but if you're looking for that next step, MMA would probably be the way to go.
Yeah, when I announced my retirement, I'm sure you'll probably get into that. I actually was I expected to go back to jiu-jitsu competition and for it to fill that void in competition, but at this time, competing jiu-jitsu, I just couldn't get the same excitement that I get for MMA. Eventually, I'm sure I'll compete jiu-jitsu and grappling again. I would love to make it to Abu Dhabi again, but at this time, I just couldn't get up for it, and I just felt like, I needed to fight and come back.
You think with jiu-jitsu, a lot of people, of course, anything, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, MMA, karate competitions, everybody's a fighter. A lot of times people will go around considering themselves fighters, and, that title.
Bro, that's so funny you say that, because I almost posted a status the other day, like, when people, talk about jiu-jitsu matches as fights, they're not fights at all. You're not a fighter when you compete in jiu-jitsu. You're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, which is a beautiful thing, but it's not a fight. It's a match. It's a grappling match. It's not a fight. Unless you're getting punched in your face, it's I don't consider it a fight. So I don't think anyone should walk around considering themselves a fighter. They're just competing in jiu-jitsu. I mean, I don't even think MMA fighters should walk around boasting about how they're fighters. Like, that's the wrong reason to fight, to simply call yourself a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's funny, man. People, I had 10 fights today in Naga. No, you didn't have any fights. You had 10 jiu-jitsu matches in Naga. So it's just it's a little different. A lot different, actually. Trust me, a lot different.
You hear guys in like sparring too. It's like they'll come out and like, I had a hard sparring session today. I fought like shit. Like, you didn't fight like shit. You train like shit.
Yeah,
when you went to class and you were training with your teammates, you weren't fighting. They weren't looking to hurt you.
Yes, granted, some sparring sessions are like a fight as far as how hard you go. It gets really intense. But the difference is in an actual fight is, I think, just knowing you're under the bright lights and that pressure and that feeling you get when all eyes are on you and the cage door locks. It's a very interesting feeling that you have leading up to. Once you're in there, you don't really think of nothing, but leading up to it is really an interesting feeling.
It's only a feeling you'll know unless you actually do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you had what, one amateur fight?
Yeah, I had actually 2 amateur fights. I fought when I was training for only. Actually, it wasn't really an amateur fight. It was just a commission. Really, it was unsanctioned.
It's like
and
a smoker.
The commission didn't. Yeah, and I was training for like 4 months. I didn't even train jiu-jitsu, and I ended up fighting. Fought Dave Torelli. I was like 19 years old. Training for a couple months, and definitely was not ready for that madness. And he ended up winning that fight. And then I came back to fight. I was a purple belt. I fought amateur. I think like 2006, and I won by submission. And then I was like, you know what, I need to stop this fight and just focus on jiu-jitsu for now. That was a really important thing that I wanted to do. So
how long between those fights until you had your first pro fight?
Years, man. I didn't fight until I didn't have my first pro fight until I was a black belt. So I just turned purple belt when I had my second amateur fight. So I mean, the time for my first pro fight and my first fight was like 10 years.
Oh wow!
And then after I had my second amateur fight and I won, I concentrated on jiu-jitsu and started really doing well, and that's when I won all my titles. And then I decided to jump into pro fights.
Awesome. So jumping ahead a little bit, so you got the call from USC. So how'd that go? Did Joe Silva give you a call, or?
Yeah, I basically, I think basically everybody heard this rap before, so I'll just keep it short.
Yeah.
Fruity Pebbles and Joe Silva emailed me that there's an opening the next week. Just happened to be in Sweden and short notice, and I ended up accepting it. And I was injured, I was out of shape, but it was a great experience, And then they sent me to China, which I was not happy about at all. But
when it comes knocking, you take it, right?
Yeah, man. That's basically it, So got a lot of great experience.
Well, look at it. So you retired for a little bit, came back, and just recently fought Carlos Brooks at Bellator 95. First fight at middleweight, right?
Yeah, no, that was my second fight at middleweight. My first fight at middleweight was in China against Fukuda.
Oh, that was a middleweight fight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Came back. So the doctor stoppage. You win the fight. It was a second round. So I was saying it was funny with Carlos Brooks. You guys get to the ground. I was watching it on TV. You guys get to the ground. You start grinding him out, and he gets up, and like you were able to see it right on his face. I looked at his corner. He's like, I can't see, and he didn't. You could just tell he didn't really want to be in there anymore.
No, my top pressure I feel is pretty heavy. It's pretty good, and although I didn't try to pass the guard, I stayed heavy on him, and I really just didn't let him move, and I landed some good shots, a couple shots, but the one shot I did land, I landed pretty good. I heard a big pop, so I think his eye was hurt, so he was probably a little nervous about his eye. I understand, well, no, I mean, no, I'm not. Personally, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for him, He felt it was best not to continue the fight. Maybe, I guess he couldn't see, so I wish him well in his, I'm sure he's recovered already, and I'm sure he's training, and he'll be back.
What was the size difference between you, like height-wise? Because he was pretty tall, right?
Yeah, he was 6'3", I think. I only fight, it seems like I'm only fighting tall guys, man. It's crazy.
Your eye. So there was a problem with your eye as well, right? During the fight.
Yeah. Second fight in a row, my whole eye turned red. Go figure. Either guy. I remember the second round, I really couldn't see, and I thought I got poked, but maybe it was just one of the punches I got in the first round that I got to my face, and then the second round was much more difficult for me to really see, and it was kind of a pain in the butt. And then afterwards, my whole entire eye turned red.
That's crazy. But so you're all healed up now. You said you had your first sparring session at the beginning of this week, right? Since the fight.
Yeah, I sparred Tuesday, and feeling good, feeling great, and gonna continue with my training. You know, I always like to train hard, and I've been training a lot more jiu-jitsu. I actually put the gi back on, started training in the gi a little bit, and that's been a lot of fun. You know, the gi is always a breath of fresh air. You know, you just go in there and do your thing, and just train to have fun.
Was a lot of your competitions? Did you when you grappled? Did you compete a lot of no gi, or was it mostly gi?
I've competed in the gi 4 times in my life. Believe it or not,
wow.
That surprised a lot of people. One of them was a Naga as a blue belt or a purple belt. My second gi competition ever was the brown belt world championships. I took third. My third gi competition was the national championships at brown belt. I won. And then my fourth and final gi competition I competed in was the Pan American Games at brown belt, and I won that as well. So
crazy.
I mean, the gi game has transformed so much, and the guys are so phenomenal to watch. And the gi is, it's a different game. But my gi game and my no gi game are always very similar. I don't play fancy jiu-jitsu. Smash and pass, sweep when you're on bottom. That's basically it, man.
Stick to the basics, whatever gets the job done.
Man, I've been using the same game since I've been blue belt. I just got better at it. That's bad.
So another thing that really was intriguing with you was for especially being in MMA for a couple of years, you've been in 3 different weight classes, won the title at 2 of them. Is 185 the hardest that you had to get to and the hardest to fight at, or considering not so much the hardest to fight at, but the hardest to prepare for?
At 185, I just constantly have to be on top of my game and really, watch my diet always, and it's a pain in the butt, but at the same time, it was worth it because I was a bigger guy at 85. So I think everybody cuts weight. I walk around at around 210. So 85 definitely is not a fun cut by any means. I kind of actually hate it. But I don't think anyone really likes to cut weight. I usually cut 20 pounds the week of the fight. This fight actually, I weighed in Wednesday. Tuesday I was 202. And then I was 185 Wednesday.
Yeah, it's crazy. So and then once you're back, once you're in the cage, like you said, you're back. You're pretty much almost back to normal.
Yeah, I'm back at around between 205 and 208.
How is it with how's the family life with the weight cut and everything? Your fiance must she must enjoy that, huh?
I don't really get this camp. I really wasn't cranky. I was pretty happy the whole entire time, so I don't think it was that big of a problem. I try to always separate the training from my home life, and sometimes it's hard, when you're constantly in the back of your mind know that somebody's training to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a little stressful, but I'm not one of those guys that when I have to eat healthy and cut weight that I expect everybody else to eat healthy and cut weight around me. I don't expect the world to stop. This is a choice that I'm making, and I got great people around me, but at the same time, I don't expect them to change their lifestyle for me. They're gonna live their life, and
sure,
we all make our own choices.
So what's next? You have this fight. impressive finish. And what are you looking to do next? 185, jump up,
I actually asked Bellator for a fight. We'll see if I get it. I think it would be an awesome fight, and probably basically everybody in the world would pick me to lose except my team. And I don't really care about what other people think. I'm doing this for to fight tough guys and to put it on the line. And that's really what it's about. And hopefully I get this fight. And I'm actually, like I said, I really can't talk much about it, but I don't even know if it'll happen. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But if it will, if it does, it'll be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, well, you're surrounded. I mean, like the guys you train with. Look at, you got Frankie Edgar. You see all the fights he's in. He's pretty much, a lot of the times he's an underdog, and look what he's done. He's come out and he's proved everybody wrong God knows how many times.
Yeah, people need to understand the fights that I lost, or the short notice fight was, I was dominating before I got tired. It was 10 days, and then my second fight is just a little bit too much experience I feel Fukuda had, and I think the flying to China, the first cut to 85, everything really just caught up to me, but I feel much more experienced and poised now, and that's why I'm actually asking for this fight. I feel I'm, 20 times the fighter I was, even, I know I'm much better now than I was when I fought Ricky, and I actually asked for Fukuda again, because he's not in UFC anymore, but I don't think Bellator has signed Fukuda, so that fight couldn't. Yeah, UFC cut him, so Bellator has not signed Fukuda, so that fight's not happening. But I wanted a rematch with him. I thought that would be fun because he was such a tough guy. But whatever happens.
Did they give you a maybe? Did they say were they interested in signing him or?
They said not right now. I won't get that fight, so he'll probably go to like ONE FC or something or World Series. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm not in a position to, be calling. I'm not calling anyone out. That's what people need to understand. I'm never calling people out. I just thought it would be, I would like just a crack at that again. But if not, so be it. It is what it is.
Staying active, looking to fight and have fun.
That's it, man. I might not fight until Jersey again, and that's next November. That's this November coming up. But that's I wouldn't mind a little break. But if they ask me to jump in to fight this fight earlier, I'll jump on that as well.
All right, man. Well, dude, awesome. It's a pleasure following you, watching your career, and you're definitely a workhorse. I think everybody would agree. Is there anybody you want to, you mentioned your school for fans and stuff where they could follow you, Twitter, Facebook, that type of stuff?
Yeah, everybody could find me on Facebook, Tom DeBlass, Twitter, at Tom DeBlass, and check out Ocean County Jiu-Jitsu. It's really for, all walks of life, and that's really what it's about, providing an environment where all people could train. And, it's just not about fighters. I don't have a fight school. I have an academy with a bunch of, different people. And it's a really great place, I feel, not just because it's my school, but the kind of people we have at our place are really, really nice people. And I'm just very fortunate to have such great students and, people working for me and working with me is a great thing.
Do you have one more last thing? How about with your school? Do you have you have guys looking to fight, or anybody that's actually actively pursuing MMA right now?
I have some high level jiu-jitsu guys. My student Gary Tonin just won the Abu Dhabi trials. There's actually 2 people in Ocean County, in my county, that ever won the Abu Dhabi trials, and that's me and that's Gary, and that's actually 4 people in New Jersey that ever won the trials.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they're all from Team Renzo Gracie. They're all from our team. I don't know if I really. Maybe Kyle Kramer, one of my brown belts, might fight. My student Adam Hughes, he wanted to get back into fighting, try to test the waters again. Scott Krampitz. He fights here and there, but I don't know how if people really want to like take it to the highest level with fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommend that if you don't want to take it to the highest level, like it's really why do it. You know what I mean? Like it's not a hobby. You know, it's something you really need to put your all into. So we'll see what happens. I believe in my guys. If they want to do it, I know they'll be successful.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, all right, Tom. Well, thanks for taking the time out. Pleasure talking to you, and we're gonna keep following you, and we'll check back soon.
Pleasure's mine, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye-bye.